of how to do dried tomatoes the Italian way. So I transferred the tomatoes from my usual dehydrator, which is by there, into my new one by here. So I will do a reveal on this one, but yeah, so let's crack on with this, and I'll just get the tomatoes out. I do believe they're ready. This seems to be more efficient than that one, but I don't know, it's early days, so let's take the tomatoes out. Come with me. Well, in here I've got drying my beans, I've got some courgettes drying, I've got some bananas drying, I've got a couple of chilies and some ginger. That one's empty, and that one's got bananas on, but I was drying raspberries and the raspberries dripped on the bananas. So in any case, here's my tomatoes, so I'll take those out and we'll close this up. And lock it. Little handy dandy lock. So my dried tomatoes there. Yes, don't look at the label, because we know it's not broth. So I'll just pop these in there for taking in. Oopsie. I'm such a messy chef. Ah! Yes, no worries, it's got to go into boiling water anyhow. Oh my goodness, why didn't I try to do it with two hands and put the camera down? That would make sense. Two things could have gone wrong then. My glass, my jar could have smashed. And then that would have been horrid, because you know I would have had to have thrown all my dried tomatoes out. So let me pop that up there. Oh yeah, so in my sink I have some, not that it's anything to do with the video, this one at least, I've got some celery and some leeks. Oh my goodness, I had a case of and in my polytunnel, so I'm not so happy about that, of the allium moth, the buggers. In here I have a litre of boiling water, and I've added 1/3 of a cup of white wine vinegar to this. I'll add my tomatoes, and they will be boiled. I'll bring them back to the boil, and they will be boiled for 5 minutes. And so they've been on for 5 minutes now, so I will take them out of the water. So there they are, out of the dryer. So I've got my tray, my grid for the dryer. So if you were doing this in when it's hot, you would leave them overnight in the sun, or you can cover them and dry them for a couple of hours. Very hot. When you dehydrate chilies, I've just forgotten to put one in the dehydrator. You make little, you can either do it with a fork or a knife, and you puncture the chili and then you just pop it in the dehydrator. Where's my chilies too on that one? So here we are. So I've got my garlic. So what I want to do with the garlic, I believe this is mesojone. So peel garlic. Gosh, I'm so tired today. I'm always tired. So we want some sliced garlic. And for this recipe as well, I will be using a couple of cloves and some oregano. I have got oregano in the garden, but the ducks and the geese have eaten it. Oh dear. Self-flavouring birds. Sounds as though one of the chickens has laid an egg. I'm using a paring knife. I believe it is, yes. I've had this paring knife for 42 years. I won it. I won a block of knives. And a chopping board, and I still use the chopping board. In fact, you've probably seen it on my videos. I also won a tray of eggs. How I won it was, I was in the supermarket in the town, and I had to guess, or the guess was, how many eggs were in this basket. And I got it spot on. So I won the knife block with all these knives. Unfortunately, the knife block went ages ago, but obviously I've still got most of the knives. I can't even see what make they are now, but they are sort of pretty battered and tattered, but hey, 42 years old, my goodness, they deserve to be battered and tattered. So whilst I'm waiting for those tomatoes to dry, I have got the pot on, because I want to do some celery. The trick is with celery, this is to preserve it. Working around new devices is a bit so clean your celeries, discard any that you know, are not 100%. I'm going to be freezing this, so what you need to do is to blanch it. So to blanch is just to flash boil for a couple of minutes. That's what it means to blanch. And then this then will flavour all my soups and stocks and everything part, I've got some dehydrated celery as well, so it's not all blanched. In fact, this will be the first of the season that I've got in the freezer. This is off my red celery. It's very nice. Quite peppery actually. So for blanching, use the leaves as well. And we'll just pop it in the saucepan, bring it back to the boil, run it under cold water. Best get these out of the sink. Let it cool, and then it'll be ready for the freezer. My water's at a boil now, so what I'm just going to do is pop. I know it's a bit small, the saucepan, but it is what it is. Pop the celery in, leaves and all. Put the lid on. Take tomatoes out of the dehydrator now. So I just let them cool down a smidge, and I'll be using this jar. I have washed it, it is clean. How is it? I've never got enough space. Okie dokes. So I am using extra virgin olive oil and oregano. I have got oregano in the garden, but the ducks have mullered it, and the geese. And I'm going to use a couple of cloves. And I've got my chopped garlic. So I'll put a couple of pieces of garlic in the jar. And then some, oh, I nearly forgot. And some olive oil, oregano. And a clove. And then you put your tomatoes in, and a bit more garlic, oregano, and a clove, and some more. A bit more garlic, a clove. I think I should probably be putting this in another jar. I think this is just a smidge on the big side, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. Oops. The sink is clean. tomatoes, a little clove. You can put what seasoning you want or flavour in it you want. You can put chilli, you can put capers, you can put oh, I've almost forgot, you put a bay leaf in as well. So I'll just finish off these tomatoes now. A bit more oregano. So put the lid on that. So I've got my ultimate olive oil. I absolutely adore this olive oil. I know you say, oh my goodness, look at the amount of olive oil she's using, but the olive oil isn't going to go to waste, because you can still use the olive oil. Bay leaves. These are my own dehydrated bay leaves off my bay tree. So I'll pop those in. So if you let those marinate now for a couple of weeks, and then so we've got our nice